Let's talk about some structures. Now, those charged with governance. Governance structures vary by entity. As we talked about, we've got smaller entities, we've got larger entities, reflecting influences such as size and ownership characteristics. So, for example, in some entities, those charged with governance hold positions. So, be directors that are integral parts of a company's legal structure. For other entities, a body that is not a part of the entity is charged with governance, as with some governmental entities, right? You've got possibly non for profits, and those non for profits are going to have possibly independent and unrelated individuals who are charged with governance. That's going to be important there. You could have just every sort of situation, it's going to be legitimate there. In some cases, some or all of those charged with governance also have management responsibilities. In others, those charged with governance and management are different people. We mentioned smaller companies probably more likely to have integrated people who are doing multiple responsibilities. That's fine. We just need to acknowledge that that's just kind of how that works. Parties charged with governance of governmental entities may include members or staff of legislative oversight committee, oversight bodies, or other parties contracting for the audit. So here we just want to make sure that we understand how the structure works. And because of that, as we've seen, right, we see that depending on how the structure is, we may need to communicate differently. We may need to not include something, or we may need to communicate something extra. That's just going to depend on the type of it. Now let's talk a little bit more about these wonderful board of directors. In most entities, governance is the collective responsibility of a governing body, such as a board of directors, supervisory board, partners, proprietors, a committee of management, right? This fiduciary body, trustees, or equivalent persons. In some smaller entities, however, one person may be charged with governance, such as an owner-manager, where when there are no other owners or sole trustee. So, right, we see in most instances, there is a collective multi-person group, but if there's just one person, there's just one person, right? No one's going to tell you how to run your business. Well, unless you get to a certain level and then you got to follow PCAOB and SEC requirements. When governance is a collective responsibility, a subgroup such as an audit committee or even an individual may be charged with specific tasks to assist the governing body in meeting its responsibilities. We'll see this chart. I don't have it in this lesson because it wasn't too prevalent, but we have many other lessons where we see the breakdown of the board of directors and its subcommittees. We've got IT risk committee, we've got the audit committee, these different committees that have different responsibilities that assist the collectivity of this group in their responsibilities in being fiduciaries for the organization. Specifically, the one committee we want to focus on is the audit committee. The audit committees, or similar subgroups with different names, exist in many entities. Although the specific authority and functions of audit committees may differ, and again, it may differ, but per massive public companies, they all have to have audit committees that do the same thing. Communication with the audit committee, when one exists, is a key element in the auditor's communication with those charged with governance. What does good governance principles suggest? Well, let's find out. The auditor has access to the audit committee as necessary. We're not restricted in scope, which would immediately require a withdrawal or a disclaimer of opinion. Scope limitation, remember that. The chair of the audit committee, and when relevant, the other members of the audit committee meet with the auditor periodically. That proper communication, effective and ongoing communication. And lastly, the audit committee meets with the auditor without management present at least annually, unless prohibited by law or regulation. This one is pretty important because, as we mentioned, management could be the ones perpetrating fraud much more than this just separated out fiduciary, right? We've got the committee, we've got the board of directors. These individuals are less likely to commit fraud because they don't really have access or control over the company in the way that management directly does. So we want to see, hey, is there anything we need to talk about without management in the room? Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started. So why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.